You have anything that you'd be able to offer on Joe Mixon's status ahead of the roster cutdown?
Yeah, we'll give you guys an update when the time comes. Most of our transactions will happen tomorrow, so it's nothing to update roster wise. If that's what everybody's looking for right now, there won't be a big update roster wise as of right now. We're still working through some things collectively with me, myself, and Nick. Still working through it. Still a lot of decisions to be made here.
Aaron,
Morning, DeMeco. For those that maybe don't realize the process, what kind of goes into it as you try to get this roster down to the initial 53, which obviously there'll still be more changes to come throughout the season. Thank you.
Yeah, as we go through our roster discussions, the decisions, there was a lot of discussions that happen, weekly. And as guys are continue to progress and get better in camp, you start to move guys around, give guys more opportunities. You want to see guys more. So it's not just one day type of deal. Like it's been going ongoing for the past several weeks. And as the process continues to takes place over the next day or so, there's still some final spots that we're trying to identify and trying to make, the best decisions for our team. The one thing I will say is this is it's tough this year, probably the toughest that it will be, has been for myself, because I feel like our team is a very competitive team. We got a lot of really great depth, a lot of great guys that you want to keep around. And most of the discussions lie in, man, how can you try to keep as many guys as possible? Not who are you getting rid of, but how can you keep, these guys around? That's the tough part about it. Is trying to keep more, not per se who you're getting rid of.
Jonathan,
Miko, in particular about the defensive line room, both defensive end and defense tackle seems like a really deep room. How are you approaching those particular positions?
Our defensive line has done an outstanding job all camp. Just to see the growth, the development of that room. Coach Rod and Coach Frank done a really nice job of just working with all of our guys, even the guys who were, on PUP, and they worked themselves back. Foley and Barnett, they've worked themselves back into shape really well. And so it's cool to see those guys get some action. But overall, very competitive room, a lot of depth in that room. And for me, again, you want to keep as many of those guys as possible, knowing how the season plays out. We have a long season, ahead of us, so we just want to have as much flexibility there at the D line spot. Not only D line, but we want to have a lot of flexibility at all the positions, across our team, just being able to sustain throughout the season and be our best each and every week.
Sarge,
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
How do you evaluate bringing a player back on the practice squad compared to maybe picking up someone else that was waived from another team?
A great question there, Sarge. There's a lot of guys all throughout the league that our scouting staff has done an outstanding job of watching all those guys, being prepared for whoever pops up on the waiver wire. If we have an opportunity to claim some guy and we deem that that guy will improve our roster and make our team better, we're always looking to improve our team, make it better. But from the practice squad standpoint, we have guys around that we've seen for the past couple of months. You feel good about, what they can do. You feel good about their abilities, the type of guys that they are, right? I would always kind of lean back on that because I know the character of the guy. So it's a little bit of unknown when you claim a guy. I don't really know. You try to see how that guy's going to fit and gel in the locker room. But for the most part, and I really lean on our scouting staff, our personnel staff for the job that they've done in really looking at these guys, and not just from this moment of training camp. Like we've studied these guys throughout college. We have a ton of reports on all the players all across the NFL. So there's a ton of background information that we rely on. And our guys, it's a lot of trust that goes into, really trusting everyone. And that's not just myself making that decision, but that comes down with Lipford and Blanco, Nick, all the guys working well together.
Cody,
Miko, do you expect to have long snapper Austin Brinkman back soon?
Yeah, Brinkman he's doing really well. Brinkman had a little minor deal there, but we expect Brinkman to be fine.
Parents.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Great.
Hey, can you talk about just kind of like where you guys are in terms of building this roster compared to maybe 3 years ago when you first started? I mean, you just talked about just how difficult it is to make these decisions. I mean, what does that say about how this roster has improved over the years?
Yeah, really, I think Nick has done a really nice job of bringing in competitive quality players, right? Who've made it tougher for us as the years have gone. And that's just a credit to, just our scouting process and understanding like the vision of what we're all looking for and what it means to be a Texan. I feel like we have a better sense collectively of what the type of players we're looking for, and it makes it easier to pick those guys. And now we have more of those guys than we've had my first year here. We had a lot more guys who are representative of the style of play and the type of guys that I want to be in the building. And that's why the decisions are tougher now.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Oh, we have time for a few more. Go ahead, Sarge.
My bad, Coach. How do you and Nick make the decision if you have two different views on a player?
We arm wrestle. No, no, we just get in the room and we talk it out. We talk it out. So it's not just one conversation thing. We talk about it multiple times, and we have to put the film on and watch guys and just see where we are and really truly discuss like what's the role for the guy on our team, and then you start to look at it from a game day perspective of, okay, is the guy going to be up and active on game day, right? And where does he lie? Like, how are we utilizing him on the offensive, defensive side? And also, what's his role on special teams? And really just diving in and having, for me and Nick, we have open and honest conversations, right? Because we both are in this together to make sure we put the best guys out there on game day to give us a chance to win. And so there are not too many times we have, disagreements on players. We fairly, for the most part, we see guys the same. Not too many times that comes up.
I would like to see that arm wrestling match, though.
Yeah, Nick will get me, man.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Will.
Hey, Meek, how do you guys feel about Nick Chubb going forward and his ability to maybe be an every down all-purpose back?
I appreciate it, Will. Man, Chubbs from the first day he got here until now, I've seen him just continue to grow and get better. You see him get into football shape, and I see him. He looks better and better each week, especially once we put the pads on. It's like, wow, this is the Chubb that I remember, physical, downhill player, and you see him popping some runs. You see he still has the explosion, the speed that it takes to make plays in this league. The guy just understands football, very smart player, playmaker. When you need him to make plays, he's going to make those plays. He's going to keep churning out yards. So I'm very impressed with Chubb. I was impressed with him from afar, but being able to see him up close and personal, see how he works. This guy, pre-practice, he's in the weight room. He has his routine down, just a true pro. And I think our younger guys can see that and learn a lot, from Chubb, who's dealt with a lot, but he's handled himself like, man, one of the best in the business, one of the guys. That's what I expected we would get. But seeing it, man, I'm just even more impressed with Chubb and how he's handled himself.
Jonathan.
To follow up off that, if Joe Mixon does come back at some point, could you see them being a kind of a 1-2 kind of punch?
As many great players we can have, Jonathan, we'll take them. I think anytime, we know what both guys are capable of. You also throw Damian in the mix. We have a very deep running back room. What Woody has been able to show throughout the preseason, it's a lot of players that can provide a ton of depth for us and guys that can really get us through the season.
Wax.
Coach, when September 7th approaches, how comfortable are you with your three offensive rookies that they're ready to contribute, Tay, Jaden, and Jalen?
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm really fired up about the outlook of those rookies. Tay has done a really nice job, being competitive every week, getting better. Both receivers have shined and gotten better as camp has went along. So I'm excited to see these guys in action. Not not shying away from throwing them out there. I think all three guys can help us. They can, help our offense, be the type of offense that I expect us to be, right? And so I'm not shying away from putting those guys out there. I think those three rookies will definitely shine for us.
We'll close with Aaron and Adolphus.
Yeah, DeMeco, when it comes to the defensive line, a couple times you've talked about Tommy Togiai and the consistency. Have you seen that he improved a lot from last year, or is he kind of it's similar and this is kind of the way he's been the whole time? And what do you see sort of as the upside of the player? Thank you.
Tommy has been the same guy, since he first came to our practice squad. He's been the same guy, just Mr. Consistent. When the coaches ask him to do it a certain way, he's going to do it that way. And he makes plays because of that, right? He's not wowing anyone by what he does, but he's consistent and he shows up and he's very productive. Right? When you look at the stat sheet after the game, Tommy is going to show up and he factors in on a ton of plays. Even though it may not be flashy, it's going to be very productive. And there's something to be said for that. I love guys who operate in that manner, and Tommy is one of them, a guy you can count on. You know what he's going to do every single time. He's not going to try to freelance or do something, out of the realm of what we ask him to do. Just reliable, steady guy who's going to make plays.
In the past few weeks, you've talked about how competitive this wide receiver room has been. As kind of roster cuts come up here tomorrow, how difficult has what has made that room difficult to kind of evaluate and how competitive that is, and just kind of what goes into deciding on how many of those guys you can keep around?
So many of those guys in the wide receiver room just showed up throughout training camp. Like they showed up making plays, showed up being productive. I feel like our DBs made it tough and competitive, and wide receivers were still able to shine and make plays. So it was really credit to those guys or how they showed up every day. I mean, you can name a guy. It's hard to say how many you want to keep because, again, you want to keep as many as possible because they're all reliable guys. And that's what continues to show up for me just when it comes to making our team this year. Just want guys who are steady, guys who are reliable, and we have a ton of those guys in the receiver room.